Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RacingBrick, and today I will review this rather tall box set next to me, the 10365 Captain Jack Sparrow's pirate ship. Yes, I know, the ship is supposed to be called the Black Pearl. Let's get that out of the way first, because the build really deserves the spotlight. Unfortunately, there's no official explanation why LEGO didn't use the original name this time. There are plenty of theories online. My favorite is what a friend pointed out. The title of the first movie has the Curse of the Black Pearl in it, and LEGO doesn't use curse words, so here we are. Of course, this isn't the first time the famous ship appeared in brick form. Back in 2011, set 4184 was released still as the Black Pearl. That one was much smaller though. This new version looks big and menacing on the box, although as usual with 18+ sets, the black background hides most of the details, you can barely make anything out. The back of the box gives a better look, alternate view, dimensions, and some of the functions. Let's open it up. The set has 2,862 pieces, it costs €350 or $380 and will be available from the 12th of September for LEGO insiders. You will find the link below. There are a lot of bags in the box, some inside the usual white cardboard box. Altogether there are 22 numbered bags, 3 unnumbered ones, a few loose elements and 2 envelopes. The thicker envelope contains the hefty manual, there's no sticker sheet this time. The manual begins with background information about the first movie, and, fun fact, the title page is the only place where the Black Pearl name actually appears. We also get details about the crew, close-ups of the minifigures, some pirate lore, and a short designer introduction. I also had a chance to talk with Mike Psyche, the lead designer of the set, so I will share some insights from the chat during the build. We start with the Jack Sparrow minifig and a small boat with a printed compass tile. The big hull elements are not new, but they were only released in black once before, in that 2011 Black Pearl set. Plenty of tiles and even gold bars are used as spacers, and soon we see Technic parts appear, always a good sign for hidden functions. These long assemblies slide neatly on tiles in the center. After adding the last large hull section, we cover some functional bits and build our first brick-built cannon, a mix of Technic and system parts, inspired by the Silent Mary set from 2017. You will memorize the design pretty quickly, because we need to build a lot of them. A treasure chest is added here too, but it only holds a golden cup. Build more cannons, and those rather tricky snot assemblies are added to the sides. After repeating the cannon builds a few times more, 16 in total, yes it gets repetitive, we can test the mechanism. The result looks great once complete. Some arches have been added at the stern, and the base of the rudder mechanism can also be seen in the middle. Here's the next assembly with some Technic parts that we'll probably have to build a few more times, the covers for the gun ports. Here's the first major part covering the section we've built so far. This is an interesting and surprisingly colorful assembly for the front, which is still moving at this point. We can move it into position after we add some extra pieces. Then there's a real LEGO geometry magic moment, a curved assembly angled with rods and holes that becomes the ornate beakhead. It looks fantastic once in place. This sliding assembly with the gear rack will be part of the rudder mechanism. I'm sure the 2 bottles will also play an important role. Here is the rudder itself, and this linkage connects it to the gear rack, and this is how it will work. I've never seen these 2 parts combined in this way before, pretty cool. And that's not all, because the whole assembly will be slightly angled. After a few more parts, it will be perfectly stable and fit well with the surrounding pieces. I'm not sure what the role of the knob gear will be, but we are adding another layer to the steering system. The assembly of the ship's wheel is a nice mix of system and Technic parts, and when we put it in place we can see the brilliance of the design. The wheel at the top drives the knob gear at the bottom. It's an amazing solution. We've added a lot of cool little details to the captain's cabin. The geometric trickery continues. This assembly with the clips has to be attached to the main build. A bit of adjustment is needed, but then it fits perfectly and is angled inwards. Looks very cool. Now all the gun ports are functional, the synchronized movement is pretty impressive. We hide the rum behind those brick build doors, and then comes the level of LEGO geometry where my brain starts to melt. This assembly is cool in itself with different techniques, but then there are these 2 Technic pins with a plate of height difference, a slanted and angled panel underneath, and somehow it all fits together seamlessly. Mind blown. Later we build the ornate cabin windows with wheel arches sliding into stud holes, another mindbender. After we add 2 more segments, the roof will hold them together, and the side sections are of course angled. We add more details and also cover the gaps, and the finished assembly is connected with clips and rods to the main one, which sits on top of all these angled sections. Now we switch to a completely different build with lots of large bricks and some clever solutions for adding studs to the underside. Here are two brand new 45-degree corner slope pieces specially designed for the set. The assembly is taking shape, and as you can see, this will be the bottom part of the hull, so those studs on the bottom will actually be on the top. Now it's time to attach these two supporting elements, and then the whole thing should be connected to the main build, which is no easy task, but it can be done. It's time to attach the remaining lower part of the rudder. The masts combine Technic cores with system supports for the sails. Speaking of sails, there are a lot of them, pre-cut with holes, packed in the second envelope. A classic space piece and the city landing gear element are also used with the ropes. These are the very special parts that connect the two ends. We have added a few more quite specific assemblies to support the next sail. As far as I know, this is the first time these pieces have been used in a ship. The rest of the build is pretty similar, although it gets taller and taller. So, many sails later, here we are, we only have a few more parts to build. We add the two massive anchors, then the deck is covered with this cool assembly, and the final element is the figurehead, and we are done. Before the big reveal, let's check the minifigs. We get 8 in total, all well printed with accessories. Only 3 have decorated legs or skirts, but most have alternate faces. You can also see the prints on the back. Captain Barbossa even holds the Aztec coin, and there's a spare one. I originally thought the chest of coins should be on the ship, but as Mike reminded me, it was always on the island in the movie. Fair point. And now the black pearl in its full glory. At 64 cm tall, it's imposing and surprisingly movie accurate. Unlike the Endurance, which felt oddly proportioned, this one looks spot on. Details are everywhere, especially at the stern, with all the insane angles and ornamentation. It's a display model first, but the functions are no afterthought. First, the synchronized deployment of the cannons. This is operated by the two knobs on the back, and it looks very cool. The old firing cannons were not used for two reasons. Firstly, they would not fit with this feature, and secondly, they could not be operated as there is no easy access to them, apart from the few that are visible from here. The next function is the working rudder linked to the ship's wheel. The gear meshing is still brilliant, I love this solution. This entire section can be removed to reveal the captain's cabin, which contains many details and a few Easter eggs, such as the apple. A seated minifigure could fit in here, but not a standing one. My biggest problem with the set is this part, as it is only attached at the top, so it can be moved like this. We have two small doors on the other side, the rum is hidden in there, but there is no direct access to the captain's cabin from the deck. The door is too small, and the steering mechanism is in the way. This part of the deck can accommodate the small boat, and it is also removable, revealing part of the interior and the treasure chest. The capstan here turns, although it is not connected to the anchors. According to Mike, it would have been too difficult to implement this feature without major compromises that would have detracted from the rest of the build. As a final feature, the hull can be detached, as you can either display it on the stand, or it also has a floating style display view. The scale is around 1:70, a bit smaller than minifig scale, but still works with the crew aboard. According to the designer, this is the appearance of the ship at the end of the first movie, which explains the sails, which looked very different on the ghost ship version. I watched the scene again though, and the sails were intact at the time. This is probably their condition after the first attack with a few cannonball holes. By the way, the 3 holes in the sails line up, as Mike said, that's his favorite Easter egg. So it is big, bold, looks very impressive. Is it worth €350 or $380? If we compare it to the other icon sets, Barad-dûr has a very similar color scheme and height, although it has twice as many pieces, but the price tag is similar. The Endurance with a similar piece count is significantly cheaper. It's quite a challenge to price for the large pieces and many new sails, but I would say in this case it's probably best to compare the build experience and final appearance as a display piece in the 18+ product category. From that perspective, I think it's great. The ingenious techniques used offered me a much better build experience than the other sets mentioned here. The process starts a bit slow with the base, it's true, and there was the repetitive cannon building, but once we reach the deck, there are more and more amazing building solutions on almost every page. And if we extend the comparison to all 18 plus sets, I know it's a stretch, but this build offers way more in all aspects than the Technic Volvo EC500 excavator for less money. Still, I would hold off buying it for a few more months when it's available from other retailers, probably combined with the potential discounts of the holiday season. I wasn't that hyped at first, but this build really grew on me. I appreciate all the cool building tricks that have been incorporated, and I think it's a great example of what an 18 plus LEGO build should look like. It is not very difficult to build, but offers a lot of great techniques. The end result is an impressive display piece, and yet it has some cool working functions with easy to observe effects. It's a shame that many will be talking about the odd choice of name and not the build itself, because it's a great LEGO set. So folks, let me know what you think of this build. How do you like the features, the final look? Let's talk about it in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications, as more exciting LEGO videos are coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.